Yo, what is going on, guys? XpertFusion here, and today we're going to be ranking every single final mission from every Call of Duty campaign from COD 4 all the way to Black Ops Cold War. Yes, unfortunately, I'm not including the first 3 Call of Duty games or the other 2 spin-off ones like Finest Hour or Big Red 1. As I've said many times, I usually don't include those CODs in these lists. I've played some of them, I haven't really played all of them, and I haven't played them in a while, and I just don't think they'd be that high on the list regardless. So we're going to be including what I call the main Call of Duties from COD 4 all the way up to Cold War, just the final missions ranked. So of course this is not ranking the whole entire campaign, I've already done a video on that. So of course there could be a few cases where a really good campaign has a really not so good final mission. Honestly, I don't think any of these final missions are necessarily bad, even the last spots, but obviously as they go up they get better and better and better. Now, what essentially makes a final mission good? I think the best thing a final mission can do is just wrap up the story nicely in a way that either teases the next game if there's another game coming, but if there's not another game coming, kind of wraps it all up very, very well and puts a nice little bow on it. Also, just how fun the mission is itself, how big it is, how cool is the set piece, how explosive and crazy is it. Even some of the smaller missions can still be really great, though I'm not just basing it on that, of course. How good the characters are. Obviously, you're not going to see a lot of character development in the final mission because it's not really what the final mission's for, but you might still see some character moments that really show off their character in all its glory. How good the cutscenes are for the final missions that do have cutscenes, and the soundtrack, and just how, good is the actual gameplay in that mission itself. All of this is important. So just let's get into it and rank all of the final missions from worst to best. So not only is it my least favorite campaign, it's also my least favorite final mission. Now, I don't think it's a bad final mission. As I said before, I don't even think Black Ops 3's campaign is bad either, but this mission definitely leaves much to be desired. I think the worst thing about it is the fact that it's very repetitive, because the whole mission is centered around you going to this Coalescence headquarters to try to stop the DNI infection spreading. You're actually in Switzerland, and most of the missions in this game, they're just really odd. They got cool set designs. I think there's some pretty cool places that you go to. Black Ops 3's got a lot of awesome places within the campaign, but in terms of how the enemies work and how they fight you, it's just really awkward, the gameplay. It makes it feel kind of weird. And when you get into the building, there's this really cool scene where Zane essentially dies from the Nova 6 gas. That scene was brutal as hell, and actually probably the best part of this entire mission. But then you get into the scene where you actually get killed, but you get put into this sort of DNI world or something, and you got the Corvus dude speaking to you, and you got Taylor speaking to you, and you got obviously Kendricks going crazy, or Hendricks, I don't even remember the guy's name, but a lot of stuff happening in this mission. But it's just repetitive because you just go through these this DNI world where Corvus is speaking to you, and it's trippy. So if you like that kind of a confusing, trippy story, you'll probably like this a little bit. And I think after watching videos that kind of explain the story, it made it a little bit more enjoyable to me. But at the end of the day, I just feel like they went in a weird direction with this campaign. I like the whole science behind it, but the mission itself is repetitive. You're just going down these 3 different routes, and you just fight these DNI. They're not even actual people fighting you. They're like these simulations. And then you get to the end, and then your character says his name's Taylor, and everyone's like, bro, what do you even mean? There was one cool part at the end, though, when you're walking out of the Coalescence building, and they're playing some really cool song. I forget the name of it, but it's a pretty cool song. And it's just playing while you walk out, and it's kind of a cool atmosphere to it. So this mission's of course called Life, and it's meh. My least favorite of the final missions. Coming number 12 spot, I have Call of Duty 4's final mission, which was titled Game Over. Now, COD 4's campaign, it's good, right? I actually don't think it's nearly as great as people make it out to be, but the final mission just, you can't convince me this is a fantastic final mission by any means necessary. So the mission is really short, but I'm not giving it low points because it's short. I don't think that's necessarily a great thing to base it off of, but it's kind of just boring. You sit in a truck, and you just kind of drive. Well, you're not the one driving, someone else is driving. You're just shooting other people in their trucks next to you, and then you have to take down a helicopter, but you don't essentially do it because it blows you up first, and then while you're on the bridge, and then the bridge blows up, and then you have to shoot a couple people, and then obviously you fall to the ground, and Price throws you the gun, and you're playing as Soap here, and then you obviously shoot and kill Zakhaev. It's kind of a plain mission. You're in a boring place. It's not really, there's not much to it. It's not fun. It's not replayable. The story behind it, yes, it puts a bow on the entire story that COD 4 built up and kind of builds up what's to come next. But it doesn't really do anything massive for the game. There's a lot of other missions in this game that are way more enjoyable and way more interactive. This one's just like a really short, explosive 4 minutes, and to me it's just a meh mission. There's not really much to say about it. I don't think it really does much for the game, but I definitely think it at least holds ahead over Black Ops 3's final mission, just because at least the story here has something to it, and it's cool for Soap's character further on, obviously, because he's the one to actually take out Zakhaev. So, and that one scene where Price throws you the gun, it's a pretty cool scene, I gotta say. Or he slides you, it doesn't really throw you it. And then the number 11th spot, I got Advanced Warfare's final mission, which was titled Terminus. Now, I thought this mission was a lot more enjoyable before I went to replay it, but then I replayed it and I was like, eh. So you're playing as Mitchell and you're with Gideon, and you're essentially assaulting the Atlas Command Center as one of the mech suits. You're like inside of the mech suit. And it's pretty cool being in one of the mech suits and going around, but after playing it again, I mean, the gimmick kind of runs out, and it's not as cool as it was the first time doing it. And then after you get out of your mech suit and you go into the building itself, you have to try to stop the Manicore launch, but Kevin Spacey's character, Jonathan Irons, catches up with you, and then you have to chase him down and throw him off the building, essentially. So there's not really much to it, to be honest. The worst thing about it, though, and honestly, this is what holds it down. I'm not even kidding. This holds it down probably a whole spot. There's one part of the mission where you're underwater in the mech suit, and you literally have to walk through the water for like a minute and a half straight. There's no like story quotes happening during it. You're just literally walking through the water in this really slow mech suit for like a minute and a half. I don't know whose idea it was to do that. That holds down the mission a lot, because that was the most annoying 1 minute and a half that I've ever had to play in an entire Call of Duty campaign. Like, why not just skip that part so you can just move on to the fun stuff? But then you get into the building, like I said. It's fun, sure. But, I mean, it's kind of a generic ending to the story. I don't think it's anything too exciting. Like, yeah, you stop the Manicore launch, okay. Like, I know that's every campaign has that sort of a generic ending, to be fair, but this one doesn't have any, like, big twists or anything or any big things happening. It's just kind of like, oh, he stops you, then you chase after him, and he falls off the building, and you stab your own arm, your prosthetic arm off, which was kind of cool how that was a little bit symbolic, how you stab your arm off, and he falls down with the building, but it's a meh mission. It's not that fun, to be honest. Coming to number 10 spot, I've got actually both of the Black Ops Cold War campaign missions, because of course there was 2 different ones based on what ending you go with. They were called the Final Countdown and Ashes to Ashes. I love Cold War's campaign. Absolutely loved it. But the final missions were kind of underwhelming. Now, the Ashes to Ashes mission, it was really cool. It was a cool gimmick to see what happened happen. You know, obviously you can choose as Bell to either, you know, ambush them or actually go to the Green Light nukes and detonate them on the Sovolsky Island. Or you can go to the Duga radar in Ukraine and then, you know, betray your team. I like that choice, and I like the mission because it's kind of cool how you have to, like, you know, take out Adler, Woods, Mason, and Park, or, you know, the other dude, depending on what choice you made. I feel like most people chose to save Park, but I feel like it's just a gimmick. You know, I don't think it's like a canon ending or anything. It's just a gimmick, and it's a really short mission. It's not like it's that crazy or fun. It was cool, again, cool the first time. After that, it doesn't hold up. It's like, okay, whatever. I don't really care anymore. This isn't a crazy mission or anything, to be honest. It's just a little bit of a twist ending. And then the Final Countdown mission, you just go in there and you ambush them and you stop the nukes within like 7 minutes. It's such a short mission. There's really no stakes to it. It doesn't feel impactful. I think it'd been a lot cooler if something went wrong. I think that's the best thing final missions can do. When something goes wrong and puts conflict in the enemy or in our team's way, right? And it makes you have to change the plan up. Those are missions I like. When you just go through and you just do exactly what you were there to do and you do it really quickly, it feels like an underwhelming ending, and honestly, the final countdown for Cold War's campaign was an underwhelming ending. And the number 9 spot, I've got Modern Warfare's final mission, which was titled Into the Furnace. This is kind of the same deal as Cold War, another campaign I really love. But the final mission to me was a little underwhelming. So you go to this factory, you blow it up, you kill Barkov. Cool, right? You get to actually play as Alex as well as Gaz, and you get to play as Farah, which was cool. You get to play as all these different characters. Alex makes that sacrifice, but of course we know that he actually did live from the explosion. I thought that sacrifice was a cool thing he had to make, and that definitely added a lot to his character. It shows what kind of person he is, so I liked that part of it. And the mission itself was pretty fun. You go into the building, you're shooting up a lot of people, and the part where you're Farah and you get to go kill Barkov was really rewarding to actually do. I love when the mission or the campaigns end with you actually killing the bad guy that you were fighting against the whole damn campaign. That's one of my biggest problems with Cold War. Why couldn't we take out Perseus in the end? But I just think that this mission just was missing something there because, like I said, everything kind of goes to plan, sort of in a way. Obviously, Alex has to sacrifice himself. That wasn't necessarily the whole plan. There was the problem that went wrong with the detonator, and he had a little bit of a boss fight there against that one dude, the one like Juggernaut suit guy, which he came out. That was pretty cool, but after that, you kind of just go, you blow up the place, and it's a pretty quick mission. There's not too many big things happening. The beginning of it's pretty cool, though. You do assault this factory, and there is a lot of people out in the fields, and there's the tank and the helicopters, and it's a cool mission, but there's a lot of other missions in this game that I'd say are much better, to be honest. So it's just going to get the number 9 spot. Coming number 8 spot, I've got World at War's final mission, which was titled Downfall. So this mission was pretty epic, I gotta say. So you're actually playing as Dmitry with Rezanov and the rest of the Russians, and you're going to this big Nazi building, and you're basically capturing this Reichstag to claim victory for Russia. And you're going through this place, you go into this big like theater room. It's pretty cool. You get PPSHs, MP40s, whatever gun you want to pick up off the ground. World at War's campaign is a pretty great one because of its, realism to World at War or to World War II and the sort of atmosphere that it was like and such. And that's one of my favorite things about it. And this mission really does a great job with that. Some of the soundtrack as well is fantastic. I mean, I haven't really been talking about the soundtrack too much because the past ones haven't had the best soundtracks. But going forward, a lot of these missions have some fantastic pieces of music in them. This one does as well. And I think the part where you get to the roof, where it's like the map from multiplayer called Dome, that's like the top area, that's the epic part, because you just go through and you're just mowing down these dudes, and then you actually get to take the flag and you're trying to put it, on the edge of the building, and then this dude comes and just shoots you, right? But then you see the best shot. This makes the mission for me because this shot is one of the coolest shots in any campaign.
You can make it, my friend.
Where Rezanov hops down with the knife, or it's like a cleaver or something, and he just comes and he just hacks the dude and stabs him in the back, and he gets you up and has you put the flag down himself. I mean, Rezanov is just, great. I mean, the voice actor is just phenomenal for it. Of course, it's Gary Oldman. He's a fantastic actor. He does a great job with Rezanov and really just makes this mission so incredibly cool. But at the same time, it is what I was saying before, where it's kind of that you just go in for the final mission and not a lot of stuff goes wrong necessarily, and it kind of makes it feel a little bit underwhelming for a final mission. But at the end of the day, it's still a cool mission. I think every mission from here on out is pretty great. I'd consider them all great missions, and then the top ones are amazing. Obviously, we'll get into that later. World War II's final mission comes in the number 7 spot. This one's called the Rhine. Now, I decided to put this one above World at War for just one reason, and honestly, it's because of the epilogue. Now, I didn't know if I should include the epilogue as part of the final mission, but it kind of is. They consider it the same mission. So, of course, the mission starts off with you having to take this bridge in Germany to stop the last German resistance. And you're playing as Daniels, and you're with Pearson Styles, and of course, some of the other guys from the team. And I love how the mission starts even before that, because Daniels comes back, and this is something that I think is really underrated about World War II's campaign. I don't think the overarching story is all that great, but the characters are, in my opinion, some of the best characters in any Call of Duty campaign. So you go to this tent with Pearson in it, and Pearson is one of my favorite characters, and Daniels is there talking to him, tells him that he's coming back. He could have gone home. He could have gone home, called it a day. He probably would have been called a hero and everything, but he wanted to stay for that last mission because he's all about finishing the mission. And of course, his friend Zussman is still out there. He wants to get him back too. So he goes and they have this talk, and it's such a good character moment for the both of these characters. Like, I really want to see maybe something else with these characters in the future. I don't know what it would be because I don't think they'd be going back to war later on, but still, I'm sure there's more they can do with them because, man, dude, there are some great characters. Then they go to this bridge mission, which the bridge part isn't the best. I mean, you just kind of, it's your casual Call of Duty action where you're going around shooting people. I mean, that's just what it's always about. But I like how you could take out the little guard towers as well, and then you have to blow up the flak turrets to let their ships or let their planes come through. And then after they're finished and they actually take the bridge, they have to go find Zussman. So they go to this POW camp. This part's cool, because this part, you just walk through this POW camp, and the atmosphere is incredible. They do such a good job in pretty much every Call of Duty of really just making the atmosphere feel lived in, feel lively, feel like gruesome, and especially when it's a World War II game, I mean, they do a great job of making this place look terrifying with dead bodies, blood splatters, like just garbage, and it really just makes you feel like gross. And then you go and actually save Zussman. It's a little generic, this part, a little cliche. He saves him the last second, but like, I don't really care. It's a campaign. It's basically like, you know, it's a video game. Who cares? It's a cool final part, and then you get the last cutscene where they talk some more, and they have a great conversation. Of course, Zussman has a great conversation with Daniels. Daniels has a great conversation with Pearson. A lot of great stuff in this campaign mission. But again, it's not amazing because the bridge part, like I said, is a little bit... yeah, it's just very casual COD stuff. Coming number 6 spot, I've got Black Ops 1's final mission, which was titled Redemption. So this mission's pretty cool. You actually have to go onto this boat above this number station, and you're actually basically trying to stop Project Nova from being initiated, and you have to go in there to kill Dragovich. That's the main part of the mission. You're playing as Alex Mason, of course, and you're with Hudson and Weaver. It's kind of a different dynamic because Woods actually just isn't there, because at this point in the story they think Woods is dead, because, you know, they made us kind of think he was dead. Obviously he's not. But this mission's pretty cool because not only does it start destroying this boat at the beginning where you're on this awesome helicopter and you're taking out the boat, and then you actually hop onto the boat and you're just taking people out one by one, but then you actually have to, you know, swim down to the number station, which is below water. And I love the music in this mission when you go underwater and you go into the number station. The music is just beautiful. One of my favorite soundtracks from any COD game ever. One of my favorite pieces of music. Awesome. It also plays, I believe, in the Verrucht opening sequence on Black Ops 1, like in the loading screen. Such cool music. But you go into the number station and the place starts to like fill up with water, which is crazy. But you go in and you're just taking fools out one by one as this epic music is playing. And then, you know, you get to the top and Dragovich comes up and you have to fight him for a second. This scene's really cool because you're trying to stop, obviously, the Project Nova from being launched. You stop it, but you, of course, have to fight Dragovich. And it's so cool seeing him just drown the hell out of Dragovich. Again, one of those satisfying endings where you get to see the bad guy taken out. And he does it. And then Rezanov is like cheering him on in his head.
Mason, you did it, Mason. You did what I could not.
And then you go, you know, obviously you swim back up, which is a little weird how they were able to swim all the way back up. I don't know if they had respirators or not. I don't know. Whatever. They get back up, and then they get out onto the boats, and everyone just looks off, and, you know, they're like, oh, America won, and they're all happy. And it's a cool final part to the mission. This is a fun damn mission, I gotta say, but it's not better than the top 5, at least in my opinion. Coming number 5 spot, I've got the Ghost's final mission, which was titled The Ghost Killer. Now, I know I said originally I'm not ranking the campaigns, I'm ranking the missions. Sometimes the rest of the campaign does matter for the final mission, like what is built up to this point. Sometimes that stuff does matter. This mission could have been a lot better if if I cared more about the story, but I never did. I thought Rourke was a really weak villain. I think he's one of the weakest villains in the entire franchise, and I think a lot of the story in Ghosts was just kind of weak. I love the atmosphere, I love a lot of stuff about this campaign, but I think Rourke as a villain was just really weak and not really interesting at all. So that definitely holds down the mission a lot, but it's still a really fun mission. Regardless, you play as Logan, and you're with your brother Hesh, of course, and you have to go confront Rourke. Now, what makes this mission so great is, of course, the location. You're fighting on this really epic, like, futuristic train. Location's really important for me. I think that's one of the biggest things, actually. And you have to go, across this train, shooting people, and it's really just intense because the thing's like going back and forth. If you get like seasick easily, this mission's probably not good for you. You get dizzy quickly, but you're just going back and forth on this thing, and you have to get across to the other side, and then helicopters start coming at you, trying to shoot you down. You have to shoot them down. And then when you get to the end of it, it's a pretty short mission actually, but you get to the end of it and you bust into this little door here and some guy shoots an RPG at you and you fly all the way down right into the room that Rourke's in. And from there on out, it gets pretty intense, especially when Hesh gives them the order to, shoot the missiles down at the train, which is basically a sacrifice, but they actually end up living, which is just insane. But they get set down to the water and they're like underwater in this train cart. And they had this little bit of a fight here. I feel like if the fight was a little bit longer, I feel like it could have been a little bit more interesting, but you shoot Rourke, and of course the bullet seems like it goes through into Hesh, but I still don't know if it actually did because it doesn't look like it did, but I still don't know to this day if it did or not. I don't think it did. But then he picks up Hesh, gets him out of there, swims out of there, which is pretty crazy, and somehow Rourke gets out and comes out, and it's like the biggest twist, and I always thought this twist was awesome. But at the same time, the realism behind it isn't really there. But like I said, I don't really care about realism. It's a damn video game.
Look at what you did. You're good. You'd have been a hell of a ghost. But that's not gonna happen. There ain't gonna be any ghosts.
This would only have been a good ending if there was a Ghost 2, but since there wasn't a second one, I don't really think this was a great ending, clearly. But obviously they were building up for the idea of doing a Ghost 2, but that plan didn't go through, obviously. So, it's a pretty fun mission. I just think the story behind it's a little meh, and obviously it's pretty short, so that definitely holds it back a little bit, but still a great mission. And coming number 4 spot, I got Black Ops 2's final mission, which was titled Judgment Day. So this mission, as most Black Ops 2 missions, is really cool. So you're assaulting this Haiti facility that is broadcasting the signal, which is controlling the US drone fleet. You're obviously playing as David Mason with Harper and a couple other guys. And it's really cool how it starts off. You're on this this plane, it gets shot down. You jump out in these awesome wingsuits, and you just have to float down, avoiding these missiles, and you go to the base itself. And the mission's pretty straightforward in the beginning. You just have to assault the base, get inside. When you're inside, it's this futuristic looking facility. You go through, and you get into the main room where they're controlling the drones, and they look at the news broadcast. This is the part I love, because Reznov is one of my favorite characters in COD's campaign history, my favorite villain for sure. His character is just fantastic, the way it's written. And he's there, and they show the drone fleet that's about to just take out New York.
Los Angeles was the flagship of their absurd materialism. So I destroyed it.
I'm locked out. Can you hack into the system?
They thought I wanted to kill the president.
We're fucked.
Doña Presidente, I could have buried you 1,000,000 times over. No. I wanted you to see it. To feel what it's like.
The drones are being controlled from Haiti.
What?
Sir, there's nothing more we can do.
Today,
We cannot regain access to the drones.
2 billion people exist in abject misery.
And he blows him up. This guy is very similar to the Joker in the way he operates things, which is why I think I like Reznov so much. And he just blows up the entire drone fleet, and he's just sitting there, and he's like, now you don't have your weapons, and he's talking all this shit because he wants chaos, basically. And then they realize he's there, he's somewhere there, and he's pretending to be a soldier of them because he's wearing one of their uniforms, and you hear it over the radio. It's really cool when you do that. And then you go and actually attack him when this little part of the building blows up, and you could see him down there, and that part's cool. You get to fall down, you grab the Cap 40, and you have to shoot a couple dudes, and then you stick the knife in him, And again, you get the choice to either shoot him in the head or keep him alive. I prefer keeping him alive because I think the ending from keeping him alive is much more interesting. But of course, a lot of players like that satisfaction of putting a damn bullet in his head, which I don't blame him for that. But usually the endings I like are the ones where he's still alive because they tend to be the cooler endings, I'd say. And it's a little bit more diplomatic, you know, to keep him alive, I'd say. So that's why I like to do it sometimes. But yeah, this mission's pretty damn awesome. It's got some good music to it, as does most of the Black Ops 2 missions, and a pretty damn just awesome scenery as a whole. Now, these top 3 missions are straight up perfection. Some of my favorite 3 campaign missions of all time. I'd probably put them within my top 10 favorite campaign missions ever. They are just, oh, so good. A big part of it is story and gameplay and soundtrack. It's basically everything, honestly. So, third place is going to be Modern Warfare 2's Endgame. I was debating on putting this higher, but you'll see why I put the number 2 spot higher than this one. Endgame's a great final mission, though. It's got a simple goal, simple task. There's really nothing that it tells you to do other than simply to kill General Shepard, which obviously is rewarding after what he did to Ghost and Roach. So you're just like, I gotta do this. I gotta do this. You hop into this boat, you're playing as Soap, you're with Price, and you have to drive the damn boat. Now, the mechanics here are a little wonky. I think that's what holds it down a little bit. I don't love the mechanics for driving this boat and shooting. It's a little bit weird and awkward. It's an older game, so I kind of give it some flack there. But it is pretty cool still going through, you know, the river and going through these quarries and such, and you actually get to this waterfall and you fall off into the water, and then you have to just go hunt him down yourself. And this part is just brilliant. I mean, again, the music during that boat chase, one of the best soundtracks ever. One of the best soundtracks by Hans Zimmer himself. Oh my god, this music. Whew, okay, it's really good. Then you get to the part where you actually confront Shepard himself, and he gives a little bit of a speech, stabs you with a knife, he's about to shoot you, and Price comes out of nowhere, and you see this epic fight between Price and Shepard right in front of you, and you pull the knife out with this epic music playing in the background. You're pulling the knife out. It's like you're just tapping X as hard as you can, which it's just such a tense scene. And then, of course, we all know the iconic scene where he throws a knife into Shepard's eye. Really awesome mission. Fantastic. But I think the mechanics in the boat ride scene, if they were a little bit better, it could have been a much, much better mission. And it probably would have been like number 1 or something. But the next 2 missions are even better. Let's get into them. So I actually kind of struggled where to put these last 2 because I kept flip-flopping between them. Both of them are such good final missions, and neither of them are actually my favorite campaigns. I still think, obviously, if you've seen my campaign video, my favorite campaigns are Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 2. So these next 2 ones weren't even in my top 2, but they were in the top 5 at least. So number 2 is actually going to be Infinite Warfare's final mission, which was titled Operation Bloodstorm. Now, this mission feels the most movie-like out of any campaign mission we've ever had. I mean, this whole campaign feels the most movie-like, but wow. I mean, wow. Okay, this mission's long, first of all. It's about an hour long on average, which is insane. That's one mission. Now, most of the missions in this game are longer than usual because there's less missions. It's not like as many missions as other CODs, so that's why they're longer. But this final mission, yeah, like I said, it's almost an hour long, which is insane. And it's a literal war on Mars. I mean, how more awesome can it get than a war on Mars? And the mission has like these stages of it, right? So you're obviously playing as Reyes, which is a fantastic character with, you know, you're with Salter, Ethan, Gator, and all these others that you're with. It starts off with you, of course, in space itself, and you're kind of just in a ship, taking out other ships, trying to clear the airspace a little bit. And that part, it's not that great. I don't think the space battles are that great in this game. But then you actually go down to Mars, and you have to actually get to this like space elevator because they can't get into the shipyard itself. From there, they have to go through this elevator, so they go onto Mars itself on the land. Well, actually, they crash land, which is a crazy sequence. And you have some really awesome character developing moments where like Reyes has to come across this soldier and he's trying to help him out and he's bleeding out, and he realizes throughout this mission he keeps getting reminded that you got to do what you got to do. You have to finish the mission, and if that means your team dying, that means your team dying.
Who's gonna do that?
Me.
You'll never make it back to the ship. If we wait, they'll fire on us.
You're not gonna wait.
Captain. How will you get home?
No one's going home. You board that ship and you terminate this place, Saul. Do as much damage as you can before SDF takes you out.
I can do both. I can hit the shipyard and drop out of here.
You won't have time.
Watch me.
You got the green light to do whatever it takes.
He kind of accepts that. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to save as many lives as possible, but he starts to realize as his mission goes on, he can't save everyone. He can't. People are gonna die, and they have to make sacrifices. Love that story. Love the theme of this campaign. I still think it's one of my favorite campaigns ever, and the more I play it, the more I like it even more. So they get to this shipyard from the elevator. They go up there, and this is one of the coolest parts because the atmosphere of this base for the SDF base, so cool, and your characters are dying left and right. I mean, like almost everyone dies. I think there's like 4 survivors in the end, and one of those characters that we know of is Salter, Nora Salter, which is just so cool. I always wanted to see an Infinite Warfare 2 with her as the main character, but whatever. Just such a cool mission. You're going through this place, and then you obviously have to have Ethan sacrifice himself to destroy the thing. I forget what it was, but it was like the machine kind of keeping the defenses up. They destroy that. He kills himself in order to do that, and then he gives them the order to shoot down at the base because the defenses were down, and they do it while Reyes is still in there, and he dies. Such a sad mission, such a sad ending to the campaign, but it's beautiful because it's exactly what the campaign was building up. The fact that he knows he can't save everyone. He can't save himself. He might have to do a mission that'll get himself killed, and he accepts that. Beautiful stuff. The atmosphere is phenomenal. The one thing holding it back from being number 1, though, it doesn't have that like final character, like final villainous character that they take out. They do that in a mission before, but I feel like it would have been a little bit better if they saved that character for this mission, and maybe Reyes comes across him inside of the base itself, and he has to fight him for like a little fight, like for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and takes him out. I think that would have been a little bit more rewarding and probably would have made the mission number 1. I still love this mission though. I still love it. But again, it's not number 1. Let's get into the number 1 spot. And of course, in the number 1 spot, you all know what campaign mission it is.
Get ready. This is for soap.
Yes, this mission is just fantastic. Of course, this is Modern Warfare 3's Dust to Dust. This mission, just like Modern Warfare 2, the mission is simple. You have to just kill Makarov. And killing Makarov is much more rewarding and satisfying for the player as well as for Price and Yuri, because these are 2 characters that were severely affected by Makarov. You know, obviously Shepard was a bad person, but Makarov was way worse. You know, Shepard was doing things that he was doing for different reasons. Makarov is just a straight up terrorist, psychotic maniac. So going to this place to take him out, this really cool hotel, really awesome environments, just like a lot of other missions. And I love the music as well. You just go out of these trucks, and you're in these full-on Juggernaut suits, and you're just mowing Makarov's men down. And then you get inside, and you get in the elevator, and there's the helicopter that shoots down the elevator shaft, and you have to take your armor off, and the music gets even more intense, and you gotta now go in with just M4s, without your armor, and it becomes this awesome shootout inside of this like really high-class place. And then you go to the roof after you see Yuri stuck with the pole, so he's about to die. And you're playing as Price, by the way. This is the first mission you get to play as Price, which is just insane. And you run out to the helicopter, you jump on it, you stab the dude, punch the other guy in the face, throw him out, you get in. It's so cool, and you crash, which a little unrealistic that Price survived that, but doesn't matter. Then you fight Makarov, or Yuri actually saves you before, and then Yuri gets killed, and then you fight him, and you strangle him with the thing, and you drop him through the glass, and he chokes to death and dies. What a fantastic final mission. I mean, it just wraps up the Modern Warfare trilogy so perfectly. I think it's a perfect mission. It really is from start to finish. I think it's probably one of the most fun missions too. Just the way you feel like such a badass in this mission, going in as a juggernaut. And then obviously, like I said, it's satisfying because Makarov isn't just a villain of this game. He's been a villain since like the Modern Warfare 2, really. I mean, he was, even talked about in COD 4. In the Modern Warfare 2, he actually becomes this person who's really causing a lot of the chaos going on. He's the reason for all these wars in the first place, really. And it's just an amazing campaign. Love this story for this final mission. And yeah, let me know your lists in the comment section below. If you want to do, or if you want me to do more campaign lists like this, maybe ranking the missions or something, like my favorite missions of all time, let me know in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.